past few years, mansplaining has become increasingly popular by people who love playing the victim. You see, if you're offended by everything every day, then mansplaining's for you. Now, mansplaining is very different to manspreading. Manspreading being, of course, when a man sits down on public transport or at a restaurant and opens his legs at an angle a little bit wider than this. And the reason he does this is because he's trying to display dominance over women and push the patriarchy, obviously. It's certainly not because he has a dick and balls in there, you fucking idiots. So what is mansplaining? Well, I'm glad you asked, and we're going to let the good people at the Sydney Morning Herald explain that for you now.
Another day, another obnoxious mansplainer. You can't say that. So what's wrong with the term mansplaining? A marriage of the words man and explain, mansplaining can also be described as explaining something in an overconfident, oversimplified or condescending way.
Or possibly it could be described as, I don't know, just explaining something to someone to help them. Does gender really matter?
But there's a problem with the word mansplaining. It's sexist. Some people will justify the use of terms like mansplaining by pointing out that we don't live on a level playing field. The gender pay gap in Australia is still at 16.2%. Every dollar the average Australian man earns, the average Australian woman earns 82 cents.
The pay gap. Now, if you've had your head under a rock for a while, you may not know that the pay gap is complete and utter bullshit. You see, it's actually extremely illegal to pay someone differently because they're a female rather than a male. The reason there's a gap there at all has to do with the type of jobs that women pick on average. Because women are more likely on average, I'm not talking about every woman, calm down, on average to work less hours than men. They're more likely to stay at home with children than men, okay? This is just averages. These are facts talking, not me. I'm just your friendly, run-of-the-mill Butterfield, alright? Got a beard, all that type of stuff. My bloody radio's gone in the background. I can't fucking find that.
So it's not a level playing field, and some people would argue that using language like mansplaining is fair given the circumstances.
Wow, what a beautiful message from the Sydney Morning Herald. The best way to fight sexism is with sexism. Nice one. Now, this nice lady with a little boy's haircut carries on with this shit for quite some time. And so does the internet, apparently, because this flowchart went viral just a few weeks ago. Did she explain it? Did she ask you to explain it? Did she ask you to explain it? No. Do you have more relevant experience? She has more experience. You're definitely mansplaining. Okay, what if she just didn't happen to know about that particular thing? Like, what if you're a perfect, amazing plumber and you don't understand how a fucking toilet flushes, right? What if you just missed that day at TAFE? Yeah? And some dude explains it. Is he being sexist? No, he's just fucking helping you out, you fucking idiot. This is one of the things that I hate about feminism. What it's become. It treats women like second-class citizens. And I know that's a bit of an oxymoron, but it does. It makes us think that women can't look after themselves. Or you can't be making jokes around women because that's sexist and feminists must stand up for that. The girls that I know, the women in my life can take a joke, all right? Saying that women can't take a joke or can't be treated in a certain way that if you treated a man it would be fine is doing nothing but treating them as less than men. The opposite of what feminism sets out to do. Some of the shit that I see on fucking social media all around the traps at the moment is just such bullshit. And this is what young women are being fed. It's fucked. Anyway, I digress. Oh, and by the shit that they're talking about on social media, I mean shit like this.
When you make 77 cents to my dollar, then you can explain it to me.
77 cents to the dollar. Come on, we've moved past that. I've explained that. Let's move fucking on.
Explaining is when a man explains something very obvious to a woman just because she's a woman.
Could you have said that sentence any fucking slower?
This is ingrained in men from like a very young age.
Really? Are there young male toddlers running around preschools in Australia going up to young toddler girls at playtime and saying, listen here, dollface, here's what you don't understand about string theory. It's more of a theoretical framework than anything else.
I'm smart, I understand, you can stop talking right now.
Oh my god, I'm smart. Why does nobody think I'm smart? I cannot possibly begin to imagine why anyone, male or female, would think that this woman is not overly intelligent. You may be forgiven for thinking that mansplaining is an American problem. Well, guess what? It's made its way to Australia as well.
I love the mansplaining. I'm enjoying it.
You're loving what?
The mansplaining that's going on.
What's mansplaining, Senator?
Well, it's the slightly patronising and condescending way that you're responding to my questions.
Well, I would suggest, Senator, that if you're putting the word man in front of some description of what I'm doing, you're doing that which I'm sure you're very much against, is making a sexist implication about how I'm conducting my role as a man.
Well, then, is not to have that way in responding to the questions I've asked.
Imagine the reaction, Senator, if I said you were woman-splaining.
This politician here has done something that not many people do. Once they hear this bullshit, they actually call it out for what it is.
Okay. What is mansplaining? Mansplaining is when a man...
Mansplaining doesn't technically exist, you know? I mean, it's sort of a term invented by women to vilify and oppress men.
Is that really just mansplaining, or is he just being socially inept? Is he just being a rude prick? And by the way, if you wanted to know how far they are off the mark, just look at the comments being disabled. Have a look at the like-dislike ratio. These people are so far up their own arse, they can't understand logic. They can't understand that people don't buy this shit anymore.
Well, it is a term that's been recently invented, but it's really useful because
look, you know, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with men explaining stuff anyway, is there? I mean, if you think about it, women, I mean, they don't really understand anything.
Women don't know anything. I think that's a tad disingenuous. I mean, what type of guy would actually say that type of shit? I don't think that sexism or racism actually exists. I think the people that you are encountering are fuckwits. They're just horrible shit people that you should have nothing to do with. They're not inherently sexist. They're just pieces of shit in every part of their life.
You ever noticed that really, you know, there's no such thing as womansplaining? You know, I mean, if I, a man, were to say that, you know, women were cutting me off and speaking over me and being all condescending and called that womansplaining, be accused of being a misogynist.
This bloke doesn't need to worry too much because it's easy to be a misogynist. All you have to do is have a dick.
I'm Dr. Jessica Keane. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Gender and Cultural Studies at the University of Sydney.
Oh, for fuck's sake, now I understand it. It explains everything. You have a pretend degree. Remember before how everyone was complaining about the wage gap? You're the reason the wage gap exists, because you pick ridiculous degrees where there's no money in it. If you really want to fix the wage gap, why don't you get a job as an engineer and stop pretending?
Yeah, but, you know, what is that? You know, PhD in being a snowflake?
It's 10 years of study.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, day one. Oh, I'm offended by everything. Day two, here's your degree. Oh, dear.
I'm actually an expert in this.
Really? An expert? Listen here, doctor. You have wasted 10 years of your life on this earth. How does it feel? All jokes aside, it would be remiss of me not to mention this. There is no doubt that sexism exists. There's no doubt that some blokes are sexist and look down upon women. And perhaps even they talk down to them in particular ways, and that's not okay. I've known blokes over the years that have treated women like shit, and thankfully I don't call them mates. They are fuckwits, in my opinion. But that's part of being human. Some people are shit humans. But to say to young people, young men, young women, that they have to fight it out against each other on the internet and in the streets, it's never going to end positively. It won't. It just fucking won't. It never does. This idea about identity politics, team versus team, it's just never going to end well. Being sexist against men, being racist against white people, fighting fire with fire will never work, has never worked, and it will not fucking work. I see this from afar. I see it in offices. I see it in schools. I see it in workplaces. People terrified about saying shit. Thankfully, in my job, I can say whatever the fuck I want, and I will continue to do so, because someone fucking needs to. I don't fucking know. I try to end these videos on a positive note. Stop driving everyone apart from each other. Everybody love everybody. I'm sick of this shit. Alright? Men, stop hating women. Women, stop hating men. And let's find a group that we can collectively hate together. Whether it's cyclists, vegans, Tasmanians, I don't fucking know, but we can find someone. Anyway, I don't fucking know. I'm waffling on a bit here. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Thanks for watching the video. If you did enjoy the video and you haven't clicked subscribe, shame on you. Check me out on Instagram as well at the Buttsman. Holy shitballs, it's all happening there. Live streams all the time. And my Australian tour is still going around the country. Check out the new dates that have been added. If you haven't checked out my Patreon page for what's happening in the next couple of months, you're crazy. And be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. And I'll see you next Monday because there's videos every week, etc. I'm still waffling. Goodbye.